You felt it, haven't you? That moment when the sting of betrayal cuts deep, when those you trusted chose to trade your reputation for a fleeting nod of approval from the crowd. They made the decision to give up your good name, to let it crumble under the weight of their cowardice, all for a momentary pat on the back. And yet, here you stand, unbroken, unshaken, your light blazing brighter than ever. This is your awakening, the first undeniable sign that you are no ordinary soul. You are a chosen one, forged in the fire of their deception, emerging not as a shadow but as a force they can't extinguish. Look back at that moment. They thought they could dim you, that their whispers and sidelong glances would snuff out the spark within. But something shifted inside you then, didn't it? Science tells us energy can't be destroyed, only transformed, and that's exactly what happened. Their efforts collided with the unyielding core of your being, and instead of fading, you grew stronger. Your light didn't just survive. It thrived, unaffected by their attempts to bury it. This isn't some vague spiritual fluff, it's physics meeting soul. You're a living testament to resilience, a signal that your purpose runs deeper than their shallow games. How do you know this is your truth? Start watching yourself. Pay attention to the way you rise when others expect you to fall. Notice how your presence lingers, how your absence would reverberate through the lives of those who tried to cast you aside. Sit with that feeling for a second. Their betrayal wasn't random. It was a choice, a calculated move to protect their fragile egos. Yet, in their scramble to diminish you, they only amplified your power. Take a hard look in the mirror and ask, why do I keep going? Why does my spirit refuse to break? The answer's staring back at you, because you're built for this. That ache you felt when they turned their backs, it wasn't weakness. It was the birth of clarity. You used to wonder if you'd done something wrong, if your absence would go unnoticed. But now you see it. Your absence would echo louder than their presence ever could. This is the shift, the psychological pivot from doubt to ownership. You're not here to beg for validation. You're here to claim what's yours. Neuroscience backs this up. Your brain rewires itself through adversity, forging new pathways of strength. Their betrayal didn't destroy you. It sculpted you into the warrior you were always meant to be. So how do you step into this? First, stop doubting your worth. Write it down if you have to. I am chosen. My light is untouchable. Say it out loud until it sinks into your bones. Second, observe your reactions. Next time someone tries to drag you down, watch how you respond. Do you shrink, or do you stand taller? That instinct to rise, it's your signature, your proof. Third, feel the energy shift. When you walk into a room, notice how the air changes, how their eyes flicker with unease. That's your light at work, cutting through their haze. You don't need their approval. You've got something they'll never touch. This isn't about revenge. It's about recognition. They thought they could erase you, but your essence haunts them in the quiet moments when their masks slip. Their remorse creeps in, not because you chased it, but because your strength exposed their fragility. You've emerged from the shade they cast, and that emergence is your power. Strip away the guilt, the second-guessing. You're not here to fit their mold, you're here to break it. This is your first taste of awakening, and it's only the beginning. Stand firm. Your light isn't just unaffected, it's unstoppable. You've already tasted the sting of their betrayal, felt the ground shift when they sacrificed your reputation just to win a cheap round of applause from a crowd that didn't even care about them. They threw you under the bus without a second thought, twisting narratives to fit their flimsy goals, dragging your name into conversations where it had no place. And yet, here's the truth they can't escape. Your light didn't flicker. It didn't fade. It burned brighter, cutting through their efforts to smother it. You're standing in the wreckage of their choices, And this is where you learn to wield that light, not just to survive, but to transform the chaos into power. Picture the scene. They're scrambling for approval, tossing your good name into the mud to prop themselves up. The crowd nods along, but it's hollow. 5 minutes later. They've forgotten the whole charade. You see it now, don't you? The acceptance they traded you for was worthless, a fleeting puff of smoke. Meanwhile, you're still here unshaken, because your worth isn't tied to their fickle games. This isn't some feel-good pep talk, it's raw reality. Your brain's been wired for this moment. Science shows stress can sharpen focus, heighten resilience. Their sabotage didn't break you, it ignited you. How do you hold your ground in this mess? First, recognize the setup. They didn't just stumble into betraying you, it was a choice, a weak grab for control. Stop giving it power by replaying their words in your head. Instead, ask yourself, who am I beyond their noise? Feel that answer rise up. It's not a whisper, it's a roar. Your identity as a chosen one doesn't bend to their shallow tactics. Stand in that truth. When they try to pull you into their drama, don't engage. Walk away, head high, knowing their stage is crumbling while your foundation holds. Their remorse hits them in waves. You can almost see it, can't you? The way their eyes dart when your name comes up, the quiet gnaw of regret they'll never admit. That's not your burden to carry. It's your fuel. Take that energy and flip it. Every pang of their guilt is a reminder of your strength, a signal that your light haunts them more than their betrayal ever touched you. This isn't about gloating, it's about alchemy. You're turning their poison into power, and here's how. Feel it, name it, then release it. Say it out loud if you have to. Your waves don't drown me. They lift me. Watch how that shifts you. Let's get practical. Next time you're in a room full of their whispers, don't shrink. Plant your feet, breathe deep, and let your presence do the talking. Your light isn't loud, it's steady, piercing. Neuroscience calls this the power of embodied confidence. Your body signals your brain, rewiring fear into focus. They'll feel it too. The unease creeping in as you refuse to dim, or when they drag your name into their petty chatter, don't bite back. Silence is your weapon. Let them stew in the echo of their own words while you keep moving forward, untouchable. You're not here to fit into their world, you're here to outgrow it. The bus they threw you under is long gone, left the scene, and you're still standing. That's not luck. That's your essence. Your light isn't some fragile flame they can snuff out. It's a force, rooted in a frequency they can't reach. Tap into it daily. Start your morning with a gut check. My light is mine. No one can take it. Then live it. Walk past their traps. Speak your truth. Act from your core. Their efforts to extinguish you, they're dust. You're the one who's still rising. This isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. They thought they could bury you, but all they did was plant you deeper. Now you're breaking through, roots cracking stone, unstoppable. Their crowd doesn't matter. Their approval never did. What matters is you, standing firm in a space they can't comprehend. Keep that light blazing. It's not just unaffected by their schemes. It's the very thing rewriting the game. You're not a victim of their choices. You're the force they'll never outrun. You've already walked through their betrayal, felt the weight of their twisted narratives crashing against you like a storm. They sacrificed your reputation to claw their way into favor, spinning tales that bent reality to serve their fragile egos. But now, in the aftermath, something else is happening. Their remorse comes in waves, crashing through the stillness of their quiet moments. And you're the one tuning in. This isn't just their guilt eating at them. It's a high-dimensional signal breaking through the noise, a download meant for you. You're not just surviving their mess. You're receiving the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are. an indelible force they can't erase. Feel that shift. When their regret surfaces, those fleeting seconds when your name sticks in their throat, it's not random. It's a frequency, a vibration rippling from their conscience straight to your core. Science meets spirit here. Quantum entanglement suggests connections linger beyond the physical, and their betrayal tied them to you in ways they never expected. That wave of remorse is a carrier signal loaded with information from a higher plane. You're not imagining it. In the stillness, when the world quiets and their masks slip, you're tapped into something bigger. Insights, clarity, a knowing that cuts through their lies like a blade. How do you catch these downloads? Start by grounding yourself in those still moments. Sit with your breath, 3 counts in, 3 counts out until the chatter fades. Their remorse hits hardest when they're alone with their thoughts, and that's when the signal's strongest. Don't chase it. Let it come. You might feel a sudden jolt, a memory of their words, a flash of their face, followed by a gut-level certainty you can't explain. That's it. That's the high-vibe data streaming in. Write it down fast. They faltered. I didn't. Or maybe it's a question. Why does their weakness feel so loud? These aren't just thoughts. They're transmissions, prepping you to stand as the force they'll never forget. But here's the catch. Not every whisper is the real deal. Your mind can trick you, spinning self-doubt into fake revelations. So how do you tell the difference? True high-dimensional info hits different. It's sharp, unshakable, like a bell ringing in your chest. It doesn't beg for your approval or loop in circles. Self-projection, though, it's muddy, needy, clinging to old wounds like a broken record. Test it. Ask yourself, does this lift me or drag me back? If it's heavy, cluttered with their garbage, toss it. If it's clear and pushes you forward, claim it. You're a filter now, not a sponge. Sift the gold from the grit. Let's talk about their twisted narratives. They bent the truth, smeared your name to win their little game, but you're still here, unshaken. Your tenacity haunts them, and that's your edge. When their remorse spikes, picture it. Your essence lodged in their throat, choking out their excuses. You don't have to say a word, your existence does it for them. Stay in that power. Don't shrink to ease their guilt. Let it burn. Neuroscience says holding your ground rewires your brain. Every time you refuse to bow, you strengthen your resolve. Their sacrifice of you, it backfired. You're not the victim they wanted, you're the force they can't outrun. Here's how you sharpen this connection. First, claim your space. Every day, carve out 5 minutes. Sit, stand, whatever works, and say it. I'm open to what's mine. Mean it. You're not begging. You're commanding. Second, track the waves. When you sense their regret, maybe a random pang or a name drop that stings, don't flinch. Lean in. Ask, what's this telling me? Jot the answer even if it's raw. Third, move your body. Walk, stretch, shake it out. Energy flows clearer when you're not locked up. Science backs this. Motion boosts intuition, clears the static. You're not just receiving, you're decoding. Their weakness is screaming at you now, isn't it? They thought they'd bury you, but all they did was expose themselves. In their scramble to belittle you, they handed you the keys to something massive. Every wave of their remorse is a brick in your foundation, building you into the force they'll never shake. Don't just hear it, use it. When that clarity hits, act on it. Speak your truth. Cut the dead weight. Step into your mission. This isn't passive spiritual fluff. It's a call to arms. You're downloading the blueprint of your purpose, and it's carved in their failure. You're not waiting for their apology. Don't need it. Their regrets already doing the work, feeding you signals in the silence. Tune in harder. Strip away the noise, their lies, your doubts, and listen. What's coming through is yours, forged in the fire of their choices. You're not a footnote in their story. You're the mark they can't erase. Stand in that. Let the waves crash. Let the downloads flood. You're not just receiving. You're rising, relentless, a force they'll carry in their minds forever. This is your high-dimensional edge. Wield it. You've walked through their fire, felt the sting of their betrayal, and stood tall while they twisted your story to fit their fragile egos. Now, here you are, unbroken, unshaken, your tenacity a living force that haunts them every time they dare to glance back. This isn't the end of your journey. It's the beginning of your mission. You're not just surviving their attempts to tear you down. You're building a new reality with the very strength they tried to bury. Your tenacity continues to haunt them, and with it, you're carving out a new era, one where their weakness fuels your rise. Let's cut to the core. In their attempt to belittle you, they've only revealed their own cracks. They thought they could diminish you, shrink you down to fit their narrative, but all they did was expose how small they truly are. Your refusal to break? That's the weapon you wield now. Take it into the real world. Every step you take, every choice you make, let it scream your resilience. When they see you thriving, unmoved by their schemes, it's not just a win. It's a mirror held up to their failure. You don't need to shout it. Your life becomes the proof. Stand firm and ask yourself, how do I turn their regret into my foundation? The answer's in your next move. You want to make this real? Start by owning your space. They never paused to consider what they were giving up when they traded your trust for their hollow applause. Your loyalty, your fire, your unwavering support. That's their loss, not yours. Be the living reminder of what they let slip through their fingers. Show up every day as the force they underestimated. Unapologetic, relentless. Don't just talk about it. Do it. Launch that project they said you'd never finish. Speak that truth they tried to silence. Build something they can't ignore. Your actions aren't just steps forward. They're echoes that rattle their bones. Balance is your anchor here. This mission isn't about burning out in a blaze of defiance. It's about sustaining your light. Feel the weight of their betrayal? Good. Let it ground you, not drag you under. When the anger spikes, breathe through it. 4 counts in, 4 counts out, until it's fuel, not a cage. Science says this works. Regulating your breath steadies your nervous system, keeps you sharp. Their remorse might hit you in waves, stirring old wounds, but you're not here to drown. You're here to rise above. Ask, what keeps me steady? Maybe it's a morning ritual, 5 minutes with your coffee, claiming your day, or a walk that clears the static. Find it, stick to it. Your power lies in staying centered while the world spins. Now, let's forge your path, your personal blueprint to turn tenacity into triumph. First, define your mission. Strip it down to one clear sentence. I'm here to fill in your purpose. Not some vague fluff, make it specific, yours. I'm here to create unshakable freedom. I'm here to lead with fearless truth. Write it, say it, live it. Second, map your moves. Break it into 3 steps you can start today. 1 small win, a call, a draft. 1 bold leap, a risk they'd never expect. 1 daily habit, a check-in with your core. Third, track it. Every week, ask, did I haunt them with my strength today? If yes, keep going. If no, adjust. This isn't a dream, it's a plan. Their betrayal wasn't an accident. They chose it, chasing false validation that crumbled like sand between their fingers. And you? You were worth more than they'll ever grasp. Your trust, your devotion, your years of showing up. They didn't see it then, but they feel it now. Your absence in their lives is a void they can't fill. Your presence an indelible mark they can't erase. Don't let that soften you. Let it steel you. You're not a victim of their choices. You're the force they'll never outrun. Every time you rise higher, their weakness screams louder. Use that. Build your era on it. Here's how you embody this daily. Wake up and claim it. My tenacity haunts them and I'm just getting started. Then act, don't wait for permission. When doubt creeps in, kick it out with proof. List 3 ways you've already defied them. Maybe it's how you kept going when they walked away, or how you turned their slander into fuel. Keep that list close. It's your armor. When they try to pull you back into their chaos, don't flinch, smile, nod, and keep moving. Your energy's too high for their games now. Science backs this vibe shift. Positive reinforcement rewires your brain for confidence. You're not just persisting, you're dominating. This new era you're crafting, it's not some distant hope. It's here, now, in every choice you make. Their attempt to belittle you handed you the raw material. Their weakness, their regret, their short-sightedness. Mix it with your tenacity, and you've got a force that reshapes reality. Don't hide it, show it. Speak up in rooms they'd rather you left. Build what they said you couldn't. Live so boldly they can't look away. You're not just haunting them, you're rewriting the rules they thought they owned. Ask, what's one move I can make today to shake their world? Then do it. No hesitation. You're the demonstration they never saw coming. They didn't pause to consider what they were giving up, your light, your strength, your unshakable core. Now they're stuck with the ashes of their choices while you blaze ahead. Be the one who shows what's possible when you refuse to break. Others will see it too, your fire will spark theirs. That's your mission's ripple. Not just to rise, but to lift. Keep your balance, yes, but don't dim your edge. You're carving a path through their wreckage, and it's yours to own. This is your moment. Their betrayal tried to bury you, but all it did was plant you deeper. Now you're breaking through, roots shattering stone, a force they'll carry in their minds forever. Not as a shadow, but as the light they couldn't snuff out. Your tenacity haunts them, and with it, you're not just surviving, you're creating. A new era starts with you right here, right now. Step into it. Build it. Live it. You're not done, you're unstoppable. Your journey as a chosen one doesn't end with their betrayal. It begins there, in the crucible of their weakness, where your light was tested and proven indomitable. You are not merely a survivor of their schemes. You are the architect of a purpose so vast it echoes beyond their comprehension, a mission etched in the very fabric of your being. Their attempts to dim you have only sharpened your clarity, their remorse a faint ripple against the tidal wave of your awakening. Stand in this truth. You were never theirs to define. You are the force that redefines everything, a beacon of unshakable identity blazing into an era they'll never grasp.